Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out. It's episode 388. Hope you're all doing great. I just came back from New York again. I was there last week, if you recall, with Hisense, seeing their new TVs, including a 136-inch model that was talked about on last week's show. And then this week, I was at a Nintendo event to get my hands on the Nintendo Switch 2, the upcoming video game console, the successor to the Nintendo Switch from 2017. It's coming out June 5th. And so one of the first interviews on this week's Tech It Out is with Kate Kozuch from Tom's Hardware. She's also a content creator, like an influencer. She's so nice. Anyway, she's going to be on the show to chat about Nintendo Switch 2 and her impressions of the new system. I caught up with her in New York, where she's based. And then this weekend, I'm off to Milan. I know, tough life, little violins, but I'm going to be with the company Asus to see some new laptops. A handful of journalists will be attending Design Week in Italy, and tech will be very much a part of that story, especially when it comes to laptops. I mean, how do you make your computer stand out from others? It's not the sexiest of gear, but when they have really cool designs and engineers working on the different look and style of the devices, innovative material that give it a fresh spin, all that kind of stuff is really neat. So going to be pretty weird to see laptops on the runway or whatever. I don't even know what to expect. I'm just making this up. But it'll be fun. And I'm going to report on what I see next week on Tech It Out. I'll probably find someone from Asus to chat with, but there's going to be many other companies as well. So yeah, if you are a regular listener to Tech It Out, first of all, thank you. But you know that I've had a bit of a whirlwind couple of months, 3 times in New York in like 5 weeks. And I'll be back again in April doing some TV work at the end of the month. Then I head to San Francisco, may go back to Europe after that. Anyhow, it sounds exhausting and it sounds like I'm bragging. So I'm going to just stop right there. But hey, I love being a freelance journalist. I do have the ability, the freedom to go on these kinds of things. And my wife, Kelly, is super understanding, and she will be coming with me to Milan, by the way. We're going to stay on after Design Week in Milan and go up to the Alps, Lake Como and Lake Maggiore, and then going to Venice afterwards. No, please don't write me and tell me that I'm mispronouncing things. This happens once in a while on this show. Lake Maggiore. I don't know. But anyhow, I digress. We have a great Tech It Out planned for you this hour. We are going to first talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 with Kate Kozuch from Tom's Hardware, a very popular digital magazine for all things tech. Speaking of games, we're then going to learn about Slap, Water Wars and Assassin. This is a new game that's based on the real world game Water Wars, or sometimes called Assassin or Senior Assassin. It's when seniors run around the real world and tag, and they've got a target, and it's a real world game, but they're bringing this into the mobile scene. So available at the App Store for iPhone and Android. Again, Slap is the name of the app, but the games are Water Wars and Assassin. Also on the program today, Ohm, as in home without the H. We're going to catch up with them. They're a kitchen tech company that has some innovative designs for all homeowners, including a smart stove knob that does some pretty neat things, including some safety features. So we're going to talk with Ohm on this week's Tech It Out as well. There's no place like Ohm. Okay, sorry. Dad joke. All of this and more on a brand new Tech It Out powered by Visa. Securing the world's payments is priority one. I'll tell you more about Visa's anti-fraud efforts shortly. But let's officially kick off the show with our first interview recorded in New York at the Nintendo Direct event, where the company officially unveiled the launch date of Nintendo Switch 2. So forgive some of the ambient noise when I sat down with Kate, but let's go ahead and play that interview. I am sitting here with Kate Kozuch, managing editor for Tom's Guide, a very popular publication covering all things tech. Great to see you. And also last week at another event. All right, so Nintendo Switch 2, it's official. What are your thoughts? So we sat through the Nintendo Direct, which was video that people at home can watch as well, but then we got some hands-on time with it. So at a high level, what is Nintendo Switch 2?
Nintendo Switch 2 is the next evolution of the Switch experience. So what's fundamental to Switch is the fact that you can dock it and play on your TV, separate the Joy-Cons, and be able to play with your friends attach it to a different controller, or you can take it on the go. It has the built-in screen. So that's still fundamentally at the core of the Switch 2. But my biggest takeaway is that the Switch 2 is fixing all the little complaints that everyone had with the original Switch, from the flimsy kickstand to the Joy-Cons that fall off the rails to the screen that just leaves you wanting a little bit more to enjoy some of the epic titles that have joined the Nintendo Switch gaming world.
So let's unpack some of that. At its core, the Nintendo Switch, and now the Nintendo Switch 2, which is coming out June 5th, is a versatile console because you can play on the go to reduce the "are we there yet" from the back seat, if you will, on a road trip, but then you can dock it and play it on a big screen TV when you get to the hotel or back at home. But what separates the Nintendo Switch 2 from the Nintendo Switch are a number of improvements that you've alluded to. Let's start with the screen. The original Nintendo Switch was a 6.2-inch display. Now what are we talking?
Now we're talking 7.9. There were some rumors that it was going to be an 8-inch display, but I don't think anyone's going to be complaining.
Splitting hairs.
No, of course not at this point. But not only that, the Switch 2 has double the pixels of the original Switch. So you're going from 720p to 1080p. That is a huge jump in resolution that from some of our hands-on time was incredibly evident.
And they've also upped the refresh rate up to 120 frames per second, which means smoother gameplay, which is important for games like Mario Kart World, which is a launch title, so a fast-paced kart racing, cartoony-like game. It's now going to be silky smooth.
Mario Kart World is one of the most exciting games I have played in so long. It takes a classic format, but it spins it on its head and introduces new gameplay features that we have never seen in Mario Kart before. And Mario Kart's been around forever, at least in my world. So we have now two different ways to play in Mario Kart that you didn't before. First, it's an open world format. So if you're not in a circuit, if you're not playing a race, you can just go explore, try and find some coins, crash into some familiar faces, see what the world around Mario Kart World is like. But then my favorite feature, and probably the best gaming experience I've had with the Switch 2 so far, was Knockout Mode in Mario Kart World. Knockout Mode takes you through different time sections where each round, fewer and fewer racers will make the cut. So if you don't make it to that first benchmark before, the 5 people behind you, you're out. It's so competitive. I was so into it and actually extremely upset when I got cut in the 4th round.
Ouch. I also you touched on this a bit, the free roam mode, I believe it's called, where you can just drive around with somebody online and even stop and take pictures of one another within the game, share it, which I think is really clever. You can discover new parts of the map, maybe some shortcut, outside of a race, which I think is great.
And I would say that's only a taste of the new community features that are built into the Switch 2.
Awesome. And speaking of community, so along with a bigger screen with better resolution and a faster refresh rate, there's the beefed up kickstand Joy-Con controllers, which are removed on each side of the unit should you want to. That is now magnetic, and that is, again, alleviating a pain point often found in the predecessor. But let's talk about the community. For the first time, there's a dedicated C button near the right Joy-Con that, as you might expect, C is for chat. Tell us a bit about this feature.
I actually have my original Switch with me here, and I'm looking at it, and I'm sad that I don't see that C button there, because I feel like now it's just going to become such a staple of the Switch 2 experience. I think it's best to look at Game Chat as a suite of features that can connect players wherever they are. So if friends are getting home from school, maybe you don't live so close, different bus stops, you can log on at the same time, hit that C button, answer a call from your friend, and you guys can be gaming, but you don't have to play games together. I think that needs to be the biggest differentiation. It's not co-op gaming. It's I can enjoy my game, you can enjoy your game.
Parallel play.
Right. And even better yet, if you're stuck in a part of a game that I've already beat, you can screen share with me and I can walk you through it and maybe give you some tips on how to beat it.
I love that feature as well. So along with real-time multiplayer chat with the built-in microphone that has noise cancellation, so even if it's a bit noisier, like what you might hear right now, there's some ambient noise at this event, you can block that out, which is great. It's already integrated, because with the original Nintendo Switch, it wasn't so easy to voice chat. You had to attach an external microphone. And there's also the ability to add a video camera. There's 2 USB-C ports instead of 1, so you snap in a camera on top for video calling and during gameplay as well.
Right. There is a new gadget or accessory, if you will, for the Switch 2 called the Nintendo Switch 2 camera. Great name, right? Can attach to your Switch and basically be your interface for not just this remote gameplay that I've discussed with Game Chat, but if you're playing a game like Mario Party Jamboree that's actually being upgraded as part of the Switch 2 edition games, you'll now be able to have cameras in your living room if you're playing with your friends and family. It adds all this new functionality to the game where it's actually your face that's like jumping up and down and hitting the bricks or trying to avoid getting flamed by Bowser. It's a really fun new way to play.
And we did see a lot of games here today. Some are refreshed versions of previous hits, like from the Legend of Zelda franchise. We saw a new Donkey Kong IP here at the show, as well as other third-party games like Hades 2 and Cyberpunk. So June 5th, it's Nintendo Switch 2. There's going to be a bundle with the Mario Kart World game as well. And for pricing, how much will it be?
$449.
Great. So again, we've been chatting with Kate Kozuch. Where can we learn more about you, and what's your preferred social handle?
I got two for you, at Tom's Guide everywhere, and then you're also going to find me at Kate Kozuch. KateKozuch.
Good to see you, Kate. Thanks so much for your time.
So great to see you.
All right, speaking of games, when we return on Tech It Out, we're going to get the skinny on Slap, Water Wars, and Assassin. This is a new game you can download for free from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store to play IRL in real life with your phone, though. But you'll get all the details after this short break, so stick with us. We'll be right back with a lot more Tech It Out.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. We cover cybersecurity a lot on this program and how you can best protect yourself in the digital age, even if you're not super tech savvy. One part of the solution is securely shopping online. And so I'm thrilled about my partnership with Visa on Tech It Out, as they've made some significant investments in fraud prevention over the past 5 years, as much as $10 billion. Yes, that's billion with a B, to support Visa's brand promise to protect the financial information of individuals and businesses. Zero liability means peace of mind when you shop online using your Visa card. There can be no half measures when it comes to cybersecurity, which is why the company takes an aggressive and multi-layered approach to combating the rising threat of malicious software and other threats by well-funded and global criminal enterprises. Read more about Visa and how securing the world's payments is priority one at visa.com/security. That's visa.com/security. You may be aware of the game Senior Assassin or Senior Water Wars, the viral hit often played by students in the 12th grade during their senior year before graduation. But there's now a location-based, large-scale, multiplayer mobile version of that game. It's called Slap, Water Wars, and Assassin. We're going to hear all about it now with Lauren Steidl. She's CEO of the company Integrated Reality Labs. And we also have on the line Ian Andolsek. He is co-founder and president of the company. So these are the folks behind the mobile game Slap, Water Wars, and Assassin. Welcome to the show, Lauren and Ian. Good to chat with you.
Great to be here. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Great. So, Lauren, why don't we start with you? Before we talk about the mobile game, please give us a bit of a 101 on the social media phenomenon that it's based on. Again, I think it's called either Senior Assassin or maybe called Water Wars or a combination of the two. What is this craze all about?
Yeah, so you're right. Senior Assassin goes by different names, including Water Wars, depending on where you're playing or what circles you're playing in. But it's played by over 130 million people, that Senior Assassin and games like it, every year globally. And it actually is it's a phenomenon that's gained a lot of attention in recent years, as you noted, but it actually dates back to at least the 80s, if not earlier. It's basically a big grassroots game of tag, which hundreds of people will participate in. They each receive a specific target. And when you eliminate that person, you inherit their target. And then the last person standing wins. And generally speaking, within recent years, as we have ubiquitous mobile devices in high school and beyond settings, to prevent cheating, what kids have started doing is asking players to record video evidence of these tags. So water gun or Nerf gun, whatever they're using to tag with in one hand, phone in the other hand. But as Ian will describe, our technology and Slap makes this a lot easier.
Right, because it combines both the weapon, and I use that in air quotes, and the ability to capture that tag in one. So that's great. And forgive my ignorance here. I knew it's been around for a while, but since the 80s, I'm blown away. I called it a craze, which implies it's new, but that's awesome. So yeah, Ian, with that in mind, let's hear about the multiplayer game called Slap, Water Wars and Assassin. So this is your game that's out now. Congratulations, by the way. Tell us about it.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. So actually, before discussing Slap as an application game itself, I think it probably makes sense to talk about Integrated Reality Labs' breakthrough technology that powers the game.
Sure.
Multiplayer real-world gaming has been an ambition in gaming for many years, for well over a decade. And people have tried to solve this problem in a variety of ways, but have never been able to make it work technically. So we use Bluetooth and ultra-wideband. So basically, the phones talk to one another when they are in close proximity and in real time. And so that allows us to actually have fast-paced, real-time games, whereas if we were to just rely on GPS, and everyone's used GPS before and seen how it can be slow or inaccurate, we are actually able to facilitate these large-scale, fast-paced, in-person games.
So Lauren, with that in mind, can you walk us through how it works? So you download the game. It's called Slap, Water Wars and Assassin. And then what? And what would you see through the screen?
Yes. So Senior Assassin and Water Wars, those are the first games that Slap enhances by allowing these players in the way, using the technology that Ian articulated, to digitally tag their opponents in a low latency way when they get within close range. So the way that this would work, you would download the app. We need permissions for the Bluetooth signaling component and location services so that you can execute the digital tagging mechanic.
Right.
And then you set a safe zone. So you can set a global safe zone at your school and also a personal one, say at your home in your neighborhood, so that you disappear from the game map if you don't want people knowing your location information at that level. And then when the game starts, you get your Senior Assassin or Water Wars target given to you by the app. You can find them using the real world game map. And when you get close to them and within tagging range, a button appears. And this is what allows you to confirm the elimination. And it also triggers a video which captures the real life tag interaction. Again, this is often carried out with a water gun or a Nerf gun. So it creates this really fun, outrageous, viral, kind of like primed for virality content. And that serves both as a way of engaging the group. It's shared out to everybody that's in the match, but it also is another way that we can confirm that the elimination happened. For example, if the target contests whether or not they were actually hit by the water gun or Nerf gun, they can share this out and kind of crowdsource that feedback and information from the entire group so they can upvote or downvote the video. So it creates this kind of fun community way of attesting to whether or not the tag happened.
When we return on Tech It Out, we're going to learn more about Slap, Water Wars, and Assassin. I'm curious to know what it looks like, if the game is kind of like Pokemon Go, where you can see information superimposed on the screen that's not really there in real life. You know what I mean? Like a water gun target or something. I've got that question and a few others, so stick with us. We're going to continue to get our game on. Kind of a theme this week, I guess, following that Nintendo Switch 2 chat. So we'll be right back with more Tech It Out.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. We're learning about Slap, Water Wars, and Assassin. This is a new mobile phone game from a company called Integrated Reality Labs. We are chatting with Lauren Steidl. She's CEO of the company, as well as Ian Andolsek. He's co-founder and president. And is it like augmented reality, where a game like Pokemon Go, where you're seeing the real world through the camera lens of your smartphone, but there's digital information superimposed on top, like a Pikachu or another kind of Pokemon character, where it looks like it's in your real world environment? Is your game similar in the sense that when you have a video captured of the tag, there's something like on top of the screen? You know what I mean? Like it looks like it's a mesh between the virtual world and the physical one?
It's a really good question. Right now, the answer is no, just because mobile augmented reality, as you described, where you're superimposing this 3D game content on the world around you, whether it's a Pikachu or something else. There are some technical limitations, and people can go down a rabbit hole online to figure out what those are. But just suffice to say, it makes it really challenging to have many people kind of playing concurrently in the same game when you're using that kind of 3D content. So we've actually stripped out 3D content, machine vision technology that goes into that's employed by Niantic and other augmented reality game creators, because it limits the multiplayer capacity. So we're really just focused on what's happening in the real world, because that game content is really fun in and of itself, and getting really precise about the positioning between these players so they can have these really quick, dynamic, low latency tag interactions. And it's extensible too. So this doesn't have to just be limited to like tagging and seeking, but we see this as, bringing fast-paced online multiplayer shooters into real life using just mobile phones and no other hardware, for example.
Speaking of precision, Lauren, and Ian, I will ask you about how many the game can support at the same time. But Lauren, you mentioned precision, and that ultra wideband is one of the technologies you leverage, not just Bluetooth. So does that imply it's like an iPhone centric game where you've got that more precise directional tracking through the phone?
Yeah, right now, of course, not all smartphones incorporate ultra wideband. So that's something that we get to leverage when players do have the later generation iPhones using this. But we don't limit this to phones that incorporate ultra wideband. Really, any smartphone, and in the future, other devices, smart devices too, like smart watches. We can even imagine a world where next generation smart glasses are facilitating this. Anything that has access to these dead reckoning sensors and Bluetooth really can facilitate this experience.
Awesome. Slap is available now. So is it iPhone only, Lauren? Sorry, or is it Android too?
It's available on Android and on iPhone.
Okay, so I just want to clarify. Thank you. And Ian, Slap is the platform. Is that fair? And Water Wars and Assassin is the game. And if so, how many people can play Water Wars and Assassin at the same time?
Yeah, that's right. So Slap is the app itself.
Okay.
And right now it supports Assassin and Water Wars. But in the near future, it will support a wide variety of other games too. So Manhunt, Capture the Flag, Hide and Seek. And we're, in fact, even going to allow users to create their own multiplayer real-world games.
Cool.
And share them with their friends and communities.
And the common thread among all of them is that they're played IRL, in real life.
That's right. They're all played in real life, in your communities, connected with your friends. It's a social experience.
Got it. And how many people can play at the same time?
Right now, Slap supports hundreds of players simultaneously, but in the near future, we will be able to support tens of thousands within a single match.
Wow. That sounds ambitious. Lauren, is this new? Because I know that there are some reviews on the App Store dating back to 2023 tied to Slap. Or is this a new game within the Slap app?
Yeah, it's a good question. The company started in 2022. In 2023, we were in beta. We had our beta version of the app on iOS. At that time, only iOS.
Sure.
So there were some users that left reviews back in 2023. And then in recent months, we've been in soft launch on iOS, and now we're on both iOS and Android and have commercially launched.
So how much does it cost to play, Ian? Why don't we wrap up there? And where can we get going?
It's free to play. You can play it with your friends and family for free. If you're very competitive and you'd like the premium version, it's $4.99 per week or $12.99 per month.
And what do you get for the premium version? I was going to ask you how you monetize it if it's free. So there is an optional premium version of the game. What do you get with that you don't get in the free version?
So the analogy we like to use is that when you're playing Slap, you're sort of like James Bond, and that Slap is your cue. So as you upgrade Slap, you get better tools to track your target down. That means faster refreshes on the location. In the near future, you'll have additional safe zones, so places where you can't be found or caught, and to add just some peace of mind throughout your day. And then for fun, we allow premium users to anonymously taunt their target.
Okay. But you can win the game if you play the free version.
Absolutely. Most people play the free version and win just win.
Okay. Awesome. And then Lauren, how do we get going? Just go to the App Store if you're on iPhone, or Google Play if you're on Android?
You can download this on the App Store or the Google Play Store, and you'll want to get some friends to play with you. The more people, the better. You'll need at least 3 people to get the game started. And you can play in your neighborhood, your city, on your school campus. And once you start the game and join the lobby, you can send additional invites to other folks that want to jump in and play. And then you can start hunting your target, and you need to keep your head on a swivel because you don't know who's targeting you as well.
If you don't have any friends that you can play with, can you be randomly matched with others in your location? I know you have to be physically in the same city or what have you, but do you have to invite somebody, or can you just be paired up with others who want to play the game?
So in the near future, we're going to enable discoverable lobbies. So if you would like to basically host a game, but you don't have folks in mind to play with, you could say, hey, this is the game I'm hosting. These are the rules. And then folks can request to join it, and you can make sure you want to play with them. And if you do, then you have a match.
Again, the app is called Slap. The game is Water Wars. There's also Assassin baked into Slap. Lauren and Ian, thank you so much for your time. Congrats on the official launch of these new games. Very exciting.
Thanks so much for having us, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having us.
Hey, if you want to reach out on social media, let me know what you think of Tech It Out. Maybe you've got suggestions for an upcoming guest or an upcoming topic, or maybe you just have a tech question for me. I'll spell my name in a moment, but you can find me on X, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, and TikTok. It's Mark Saltzman, MarkSaltzman. So Mark with a C, Saltzman with a Z. I'm on all those platforms. Or if you prefer email, just head over to my website, marksaltzman.com. And let me know where you're tuning into the show from, whether it's on your local talk radio station or in podcast form. I always get a kick out of hearing where people are based. All right, when we return on Tech It Out, we're going to talk with the company Ohm about smart kitchens. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. Well, it's been about 2 years since we had our next guest on the show, Akshita Iyer. She's CEO and founder of Ohm, which is spelled O-M-E, kind of like home without the H, when she was on to talk kitchen tech in 2023. Well, Akshita is back with us to tell us what's new with this smart Ohm company. Thanks for your time today.
Mark, thank you so much for having me. Again, it was a pleasure to be on 2 years ago. I can't believe how fast the time flies, and I'm excited to chat about what we've been up to.
For sure. Yeah, I think you were on the 300th episode, a special Tech It Out back then. So great to have you back on. At a high level, Akshita, perhaps you can start off by reminding us what Ohm is all about, the company.
Absolutely. At Ohm, we build smart solutions for a safer home. And it all started with a personal experience when my mom accidentally left the stove on one too many times and started a kitchen fire. And if you didn't know, like I didn't know at the time, the number one cause of house fires is people just getting distracted and leaving the stove on, or pets or kids accidentally turning a burner on. And I realized that while we have so many smart devices in the rest of the home, door locks, doorbells, thermostats, full security systems, the kitchen had a bit of a long way to go, especially because appliances just last a really long time. And so my thought was, well, if we're retrofitting most other products in our home, what if we could retrofit your most used cooking appliance, your stove, and at the same time really solve for this very critical safety concern that's affecting a lot of people. And so I set out to build a smart knob, and that is exactly what we built. So our smart knob replaces your existing stove knob. It works like a regular stove knob, so you don't have to relearn how to use your stove. You push, you turn, same as always, very intuitive. The only difference with our knob is that it has a bunch of smart sensors and proprietary technology in it that allow it to automatically turn the burner off if you leave it on by accident. And so every time you turn the burner on, our knob knows which burner is on, what setting it's at, how long it's been on for, and then it has the ability to proactively turn the burner off or even adjust the temperature if you need based on what's happening in your kitchen.
So this would work for that one burner only, correct? Like, because if you have 4 burners, as we do for our cooktop, then you would need 4 smart stove knobs.
Correct. You would need 4 for each burner that you have.
And do you sell them as a pack?
We do both. So we sell individual knobs if you just want to try it out, or if, many people have their favorite burner. And so if you just want to retrofit your favorite burner, you can do that. But then we also do sell a pack of 4, 5, 6, depending on how many burners you have. And the reason we do both is because we really wanted to lower the threshold to at least have you try a solution like this. It's nothing like our knob has really been, commercialized before. And so we do offer that individual knob. But of course, we highly recommend a comprehensive, safety measure, meaning, you replace all 4 of your burners.
And does it matter if it's a gas stove or electric one or induction?
Nope, it doesn't matter if it's electric, gas, induction, as long as it has knobs.
Okay. Akshita, is there anything new since we last spoke about the smart stove knob? Any new features or any new products?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been quite an eventful last couple of years. So when we last spoke, we were, in the middle of expanding our reach of the Gen 1 smart knob. What we realized after, shipping to customers across the country with Gen 1 was that we had limited compatibility. At least we wanted to, with Gen 1, really prove that this was a product that works functionally. And at the same time, notice that, we really could only work on ranges where the knobs are vertical, because the Gen 1 knob was relatively big. And, if you look at any other smart devices, especially smart door locks, your Gen 1 product is usually your proof of concept. And so we tried to make it as compatible as possible. But after a few years of shipping Gen 1, we decided that we had enough feedback to redesign the knob and launch a Gen 2 version, which we did last September. And so it was about a year and a half of completely redesigning from the ground up with almost all custom components, because what we found with Gen 1 was, we were pulling a lot of components off the shelf. And so we really had limited flexibility on the form factor so that, we could only make it compatible with so many ranges. With Gen 2, it's about half the size. It comes in only 2 parts, the knob top, the knob bottom, which makes charging easier, installation easier. And most importantly, we have expanded compatibility not just on ranges, but also to stove tops, where the knobs are typically smaller and closer together. We have a longer battery life, and it's just much more aesthetically pleasing. We were super excited about it because it really gave us the opportunity to, of course, expand our reach, but then also really start to work with the appliance manufacturers, where we can not only retrofit this onto quote unquote dumb ranges that are out there and digitize that experience, but then also work towards an integrated solution where in the long run, every stove or range that is sold can have this technology already built in.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ohmkitchen.com website, and I see that the Ohm Smart Knob 2.0 is what you're selling now. It's $129 for one, but you also have a 4, 5, and 6 pack that you chatted about earlier. And it says here that you can control your stove from anywhere, and showing an app as well. So what would be an application for that you're on, you're sitting on the couch and you want to be able to turn off that stove?
We do not allow for remote turn on, just for safety reasons.
Yeah, by accident, pocket dial.
Accidentally turning on. But once you push and turn and it's on, check to make sure your stove is off. So, a big use case for us is when you leave the house, you have that moment of panic. You don't necessarily want to drive all the way home. And so you can actually check on our app to see if all the burners are off. And then if they are not off, you can automatically turn them off remotely. You can also adjust the temperature setting through the app. And you can also do all of these things through your voice assistant. So really trying to make the safety functionality just work in the background. So the automatic shutoff will engage if you leave the stove on for more than 15 minutes or whatever your auto shutoff setting is. But then, you can set cooking timers. There's so much more that you can do just to make your time in the kitchen much less stressful and give you that peace of mind that we have everywhere else in the home.
More about Ohm Smart Kitchens when we return on Tech It Out.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
Smart Ohm. We are chatting with Akshita Iyer. She's the CEO and founder of Ohm. That's home without the H. They are the makers of the Ohm Smart Knob 2.0, which replaces your existing stove knobs and can replace your old one in less than a minute, it says on the website. We are chatting about smart home technology. Akshita is joining us for the first time in almost 2 years. To continue on with our chat, can you share some of your predictions on how AI, which seems to be the real buzzword today, and other smart home tech can shape the kitchen of the future?
Yeah, I think there are so many avenues where AI can really help accelerate technology, especially in the home and the user applications. I think, for us, the first and foremost is really proactive safety, right? So, these devices that can act as, kind of kitchen guardians in a way, preventing fires, gas leaks, accidents by detecting unsafe conditions and automatically responding without you having to step in. So, our smart knob is an example of that. And I hope that with time, these smart appliances can learn user habits, just like your Nest thermostat learns what temperature you like your house at, and it automatically sets that for you, where appliances can learn your habits and send those real-time alerts to prevent unattended cooking hazards, especially for, like we talked about, older adults and families with kids.
I like that. There's also an efficiency story here, cutting food waste. How can AI help there?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as you mentioned, personalizing your kitchen, optimizing your recipe content based on dietary needs, allergies, food preferences. Imagine a smart assistant or an app that can suggest meals based on what's in your fridge. And then I think on the, sustainability and energy efficient side, AI can help by suggesting eco-friendly cooking methods, and then also reducing food waste through inventory tracking, right? So, I mean, your fridge is a great example of items that can go bad. And I know that there is work being done on image recognition in the fridge that can automatically tell you, what ingredients are going to go bad and that you need to use them quickly. And I think that can really help on the smart appliance side to let you know the ingredients that are, nearing their expiration date and to really minimize waste. I think that's a huge one that I think all of us can relate to.
And before I let you go, Akshita, what would you say are some of the current challenges tied to smart kitchens? Is it familiarity that a lot of the people who may want to take advantage of products like yours may not be the most comfortable using tech, or is there like a price obstacle?
Honestly, I think awareness is not a big one in my mind. I think it's the other two that you mentioned. So, the first one being just the intuitiveness, right? I think one of the biggest reasons smart home products have a hard time getting adoption is because they're difficult to install, difficult to understand. What we really recognized was that you need to really seamlessly fit into someone's daily habits, right? And not really try to change consumer behavior and really just add and augment the appliances or, the products that you use day to day. So I think really making sure that we're creating products that are easy to understand is important. The way we see it at this point is really to take our technology to the next level is to work with the bigger companies that have that infrastructure in place.
Yeah, like appliance makers and such. So finally, the best website again is simply omekitchen.com. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, OME. kitchen.com. Akshita, it's been great chatting with you. Let's not make it another 2 years before we have you back on, and wishing you much success with the second generation, the Ohm Smart Knob 2.0. And thanks for all the educational work you do as well for the category as a whole, not just about your own solution. So I really like what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I just wanted to give Visa a shout out one more time. Did you know that shoppers are 3 times more likely to enter an unfamiliar store if it displays a Visa logo? And customers are 5 times more likely to think a merchant is reputable. This is because Visa has invested billions over the years in fraud prevention, so you don't need to think twice about shopping at retail or online with your Visa card, nor should businesses be concerned about secure payments. Visa is deploying advanced technology to ensure customer data is not vulnerable, no matter where the transactions take place. To learn more about Visa's work in protecting you and your purchases, head over to visa.com/security. That's visa.com/security. I also wanted to acknowledge and thank SanDisk, one of my favorite tech companies. I rely on their storage solutions all the time, both internal and external, but the rebranded company has done really well with its solid state drives for laptops and desktops. Great for content creators because unlike an external hard drive, which is really good just for backup purposes, throw a bunch of files on there and put it away for long-term storage. Solid state is fast and reliable and light, and there's no moving parts, so it's more durable, which all means you can easily work off those drives. So if you're a content creator, like a podcaster, a YouTuber, a TikToker, you're editing in the field, on that laptop or tablet or phone, these files are getting massive, so you're going to want to have external storage. So check out sandisk.com for their line of SSDs, micro SD cards, and USB thumb drives. Thanks for tuning in to Tech It Out, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I look forward to broadcasting next week's show from Milan. Take care of yourself, and we'll chat in a week. Ciao.